Yesterday I couldn't upload a video because I was a bit busy. But today I'm uploading a video, as you can see. So today's video will be quite different, as I've said earlier on the last video that I will be uploading a video on 5 of the best budget phones. Before starting off this video, I would like to say thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for watching the previous two videos. I know it's like that was the first. I think the first time I started was on 5th June and the second one on 6th June. Today is what, 8th June, because yesterday I couldn't upload, and I hope you're ready to watch one of the best budget phones for 2020. First phone I would love to introduce is Oppo A5 2020. First up, I don't want to describe much about this phone since I don't have the phone. I don't have any evidences to show. But since there are specifications, so I can just open the specifications to you. Network technology is GSM. Its launch, it released, I believe, on 21st of September 2019. I mean, not released, but like launched. They publicly announced on 21st of September 2019. Its display is quite good, as I have seen previously. Its display is IPS LCD, not an LED. Pretty sad. Uh, Size is 6.5 inches and its area is 102 centimeters square. Resolution is actually good as an Oppo phone. Obviously, we know that every Oppo phone, the camera is like very good, and its resolution is 720 times 1600 pixels. Also, I believe the memory card is micro SD, yeah, and it's internally 64 GB, but you can find in two phones. You can find two ways, which is 64 GB and 34 GB. I mean, sorry, 64 GB. Sorry, I'm sorry. See, there is only 64 GB, but you can find in two phones, which is 64 GB in 3 GB RAM, which is $299, and 64 GB 4 GB RAM, which is for $265, I believe, 265 to $269. Its power is 5000 mAh. Obviously, the camera is 12 megapixel with 6.5 inches, which is really good. The selfie camera, which is like the most important to every Oppo user out there, the selfie camera is 8 megapixel. 8 megapixel with features there's HDR, and the video is 1080p at 30 fps, just like other really very good budget phones. The loudspeaker, there is obviously every phone has a loudspeaker with 3.5 millimeter of the headphone jack. So if you don't know what headphone jack is, this is one of them. This is one of them. Um, let's talk about the common things. What are the common things? There's Wi-Fi, there's Bluetooth of A2DP or LE. GPS is there with the GLONASS Galileo. NFC is there with radio as usual, the FM radio. The USB is 2.0 Type C. So to all the Oppo users, if you want to buy Oppo, just remember it is 2.0 Type C. For number 2 of the best budget phone, as I've said earlier in the previous video, this would be my favorite phone, Samsung Galaxy J5 Pro. It has a network of, again, GSM. As usual, all the other phones has it. It has been announced on 2017 June. But at the same time, when it has been announced, it has also been released, which is like really good. And I would say let's talk about a bit about body, where the dimensions is 146 millimeters of length. Sorry, 146 millimeters of length, having 7.1 millimeters of width, and the 8 millimeter of the thickness of this phone. This phone is quite light compared to the previous Oppo phone, and I believe this could be One of the best budget phones. No wonder why this is one of the best budget phones. Not sponsored, definitely not sponsored. Main camera is this part, of course, is 13 megapixels, having 1080p at 30 fps frame per seconds. But it's selfie camera, which is the back camera, I believe, back or front camera, I don't know. That is also 13 megapixel. This phone is what this is the reason which makes it unique. It has 13 megapixel front and 13 megapixel back, so you won't really know what's the back camera, what's the front camera. It's 13 for both. And the sound is yes, but I have said earlier the sound loudspeaker is not actually loudspeaker to all the J5 Pro users. Even I believe the loudspeaker here is not that clear, and when you want to put it on full volume, it's like it sounds horrible. Let's talk about the features where they have a fingerprint. So if you want to do a fingerprint, you have to put a thumb here, this button. There are many models, I believe. There are actually many models, but what I have is SMJ530G, model G. I don't know about you guys, but there are many models, I believe. I know there's so many models out there. The colors, as I said earlier, there's only four colors, which is blue, pink, black, and gold. But what I have is gold color J5 Pro. Its price is quite cheap. I'm not gonna lie. If you talk about euros, it's about 130 euros, um, which is like probably around. I really don't know, to be honest. To be honest, I actually don't know. Oh yeah, it's like $199. 199. I did a bit of research, and obviously I forgot all my specifications. Uh, okay, it was actually $239. Okay, which is not clearly one the best budget phones, as I've said earlier, because this is not that cheap though, but this is also not that expensive too. If you want a very good phone, obviously we have to know the moral that very good phones are expensive. Like, come on. Three, it's the Huawei P Smart 2019. Once again, I don't have the phone. I don't have Huawei P Smart, but I had a Huawei brand phone, which was my first ever phone for Huawei Y550. If you don't know what Huawei Y550 is, just Google it. We have so many resources. Why not Google it? Huawei P Smart 2019 is GSM or HSPA or LTE. Now, what are those technologies? If you think about, they say Note 10 LTE, Note 10, yeah, LTE. Obviously, Note 10 LTE, whatever, is not a budget phone, and I clearly know that. Um, its launch was in 2018, December 28, and I'm so sorry for the background noise. That's my little brother. He cries a lot. Yep. Its body is the body dimension. Let's talk about its width, height, and the length. Its length is 15.5 centimeters. Centimeters, with 7.3 centimeters in width, having 0.8 centimeters in the thickness of the phone. It's the exact. I mean, almost the same as the Samsung Galaxy J5 Pro. Also, its display is LCD. I I think I've realized many of the budget phones mostly are LCD phones, not LED phones. But what I have seen so far, only J5 Pro. Okay, I haven't went through all, but what I've seen so far, this phone J5 Pro only has LED phone, and that doesn't mean that I'm not saying you to buy J5 Pro, and I'm completely not sponsored. J5 Pro has things which no other budget phone has, I believe, but I haven't gone through all of them. But wait, why are we changing topic? Platform is OS, which is Android 9.0. As usual, all the phones are normally Android, but not Apple. Apple is Apple. They have their own unique brand, but Huawei or Lenovo or Samsung especially, they're all Android. The memory card slot is micro SD. Uh, they don't have dual. I don't think they have dual. They have dual SIM. Sorry, no, they do. I don't. They. I think they don't have dual SIM, or they do have dual SIM. Because to be honest, I really don't know much about Huawei because I'm not a Huawei user. I'm a Samsung user, and I haven't researched much about Google because I really don't like Google. Google was like main camera is 13 megapixels. Yeah, its main camera is 13 megapixel with 2 megapixels in depth. But their selfie camera, which is also known as the back camera or front camera, I think they have 16 megapixels. Features the HDR, so when you want to take a picture, is usually HDR. So that, but HD on just a common thing to recommend to note that all the phones HDR will only work when there's of course sunlight, or which means you can take best photos during daylight. Sound loudspeaker is yes, but to all the Huawei users, even I was a Huawei user, but not Huawei P Smart user, just comment down below how is the loudspeaker, because I'm a Samsung user and I have Samsung Galaxy J5 Pro, and to be honest, the loudspeaker isn't that good, but I don't know about Huawei P Smart, so you can just comment down below how's your loudspeaker, and just want to know because I'm really curious about your phones. Come on. It has a 3.5 millimeter jack as all the Android phones have. Uh, the common things, as we all know, they have the Wi-Fi, they have Bluetooth of 4.2, they have GPS, they have NFC, radio, USB. Sensors are also like fingerprint sensors. Since we live in a modern world, I think fingerprint is also one of the few reasons why security has improved day by day. Um, uh, Talking of the price, compared to all the online people who buy from online, eBay is I think $179, which is the 32 GB RAM, 32 GB, 3 GB RAM. That is, I think $179, but it all depends depending upon the website you use. So, like for example, eBay will be $179, Amazon will be $179, but AliExpress will be 199 to $200. 64 GB I believe is $216, so which is like quite okay. Mm, I mean, think about it. Huawei is actually a very good brand, and I believe people should actually not only focus on the phone I really have, because I don't want to force my viewers. Huawei could be a very good phone because I had Huawei Y550 back in 2016, and it got cracked. Yeah, pretty much I used it for like 1 month, and yeah. Four of the five best budget phones is Motorola One Macro. It has a 4 GB RAM, which is actually fast. And Motorola is not a bad phone, what people think, but since its brand is so weak, it is just that people don't really tend to think on Motorola since there's so much focus on Huawei, which is like the new competitor, and the two of the best competitors of all the decades, which is Samsung and iPhone. Motorola has been one of the best brands, and I believe many people should also focus on Motorola, especially Motorola One Macro, because that is my best budget phone. And me as a user, if I was a Motorola user, I would actually prefer to buy Motorola Macro. Behind there are actually reasons to why Motorola Macro could be one of the best phones amongst the and budget phone amongst the five best budget phones, since it has three types of network as usual, which is GSM, HSPA, and LTE. It has been launched on 2019 October 10th on 9th, but released in October 12th. That is for sure October 12th. Now, for best phones to actually be low price, it's actually unique. And for this video, I would actually say that Motorola and Samsung Galaxy J5 Pro are one of the best phones in my opinion, since they're quite cheap. For me, is like quite middle price, which is neither expensive nor cheap, but it's like in the middle, um, which makes it really good for a phone which should be like around, I don't know, $400 or $500. But to be fair, what I don't agree is that sometimes the price you see on could be right, but the price you also see could be wrong. One of them could be the loudspeaker, where for this phone I'm talking about, the loudspeaker could be like quite low, I believe. But I really don't know anything about Motorola. But why am I talking about my phone? Talk about Motorola. What the heck? Body, of course, is 157 millimeters to 158 millimeters in range, 75 millimeters in width, and 9 millimeters in thickness. I don't have the phone. Weight is quite heavy. Weight is actually quite heavy, to be honest. Its weight is around 190 grams, just like the previous Oppo A5 phone I was talking about. They're actually quite similar. Again, it's an LCD phone. As I said earlier, what I have seen so far, all the budget phones are LCD, but this phone was not LCD. This was an LED phone. I know I'm talking so much about my Samsung Galaxy J5 Pro phone, but because I love that phone. It's talking about its platform. Its OS is Android 9.0 with, but its chipset is MediaTek. To be honest, I really don't know the code, but I know its chipset, which is MediaTek. It's octa-core. Um, it's a shared SIM slot, I believe. I think that's dual SIM, what I believe, but it's internally 64 GB RAM. 64 GB RAM with a budget phone is actually so good, and with speed having 4 GB RAM. 4 GB RAM, and I don't know why people are not really focusing on Motorola, which is like a budget phone, but focuses on iPhone, which is like $1,000, $2,000 phone, which is like of no use. Now, to be honest, I'm being honest with you. Motorola is not actually for no, Motorola is not actually a camera phone, just like Oppo and the few other phones which mostly focuses on camera. But a phone like this could have actually a very good resolution, having 13 megapixels. Since they have three cameras, I believe, they have 13 megapixel, and then 2 megapixels, and then again 2 megapixels, which is actually good, having LED, HDR, and panorama. And I know what you guys, I'm sure you guys know what a panorama is. LED flash, HDR, panorama. Panorama is the width. Video is 1080p at 30 fps, 60 fps, and 120 fps. Its selfie camera is quite low, which is 8 megapixel. 8 megapixel, which is actually good. I'm not gonna lie, 8 megapixel is not something which is small for a phone like this, and having features as like HDR to all the Motorola users, you must be grateful that you guys have Motorola phones, because it's, to be honest, what I have seen, because many of my friends have Motorola phone, and they're not actually for a camera phone. They're actually more of network phone, more, the Motorola doesn't really focus on. That doesn't mean that I'm really criticizing Motorola, because Motorola is a very good phone, and if they really don't focus on camera, they also have a very good megapixel, which is clearly a very good phone, one of the best budget phones, in my opinion. Speaking of sound, loudspeaker is a yes, but I would also like to know deeper information from all of you, all of the users out there, how Motorola One Macro loudspeaker is. If you really want to know, just comment down below. It's 3.5 millimeter jack. The audio port. I'm talking about the headset port. Let's talk about the common thing, which is like wireless local access network, having Wi-Fi, of course, Bluetooth 4.2, GPS, infrared port, FM radio, and USB. Features are, of course, fingerprint. Uh, Now, there are three other things which I really want to know from all the users out there. What I have read is that they have the accelerometer, gyro, and proximity. Just if I know, obviously I know what proximity is, but I don't know what an accelerometer and gyro is. So if we and did I spell, is it gyro, or gyro? Just comment down below. How does it sound? I really don't know what those phones, what exactly those are. But if you don't, I mean, users like the Motorola users are there, and I'm sure there is actually one user who is actually Motorola. And if you really want to announce how does the how what are accelerator, what are gyro, you can also gyro. You can comment down below, and I think we have to move on. Time is taking away. Color is space blue. There's only one which is space blue compared to all the other phones which they have two or three colors, which makes it more unique. Space blue is actually not a bad color, and the model is PHGS. PHGS, yeah. Their prices also depend on the website you use. So, of course, Amazon will be $167, and if we use the UK version, it is £162. eBay is $189, but eBay UK will be £144. I'm talking about $189 and £144. Um, I guess it's actually one of the best budget phones as for now, 2020, the new worst decade. Now for number 5 of the 5 best budget phones could be Huawei Honor 10 Lite. Also, this phone is known to be also one of the best budget phone, and it has a rivalry with Huawei P Smart. It's a worthy rival, and there are actually reasons why this could be rival competing with their own Huawei brand, and it looks quite weird. I'm not gonna lie. All the other phones. This phone also has a network of GSM, HSPA, and LTE. It has been launched in 2018 November. Also released on the same day, same month. Um, to be honest, all the Huawei phones I have seen so far, they have gigabyte RAM of 3 to 6 GB RAM, which is really fast, and it's a budget phone. And it's a budget phone. Now, its body dimensions is 15.4 centimeters of length, having around 7 centimeters of width with 0.8 centimeters of the thickness. Weight is actually good, 162 grams. It's almost like the J5 Pro phone I have. It's a glass front, so the front part is glass, but the back part is plastic, so which means it is not fragile. That is really good for a phone like that. Um, Also, it's nano SIM. I mean, sorry, what nano SIM? Single SIM, but there is also a hybrid dual SIM. So there's single SIM and a dual SIM. So there are two types. It's an LCD phone, 6.21 inches. Again, all the phones have LCD, which is, yes, okay. I'm not going to criticize, but this phone is actually good. All the phones I'm mentioning are all good, and I believe me, these are the top 5 phones I can recommend to all the users out there, since they really, if the main goal for all the users out there is to buy a phone and at the same time try to save up the money, the budget they have, rather than spending all of it at once. Obviously, if you're a rich guy, like all the prince out there, and they want to flex with the money. Obviously, you can buy iPhone 11. I really don't have to describe about it. But all the people who are really onto budget phones, but they want a good phone, good budget phone. This is the video you can watch. Display is again LCD, as I've mentioned earlier. Its resolution is 1080 times 2340 pixels. Again, its platform is OS Android 9, 9.0, but its chipset is Kirin 710. The chipset is the RAM. That's how they work. That the RAM, the small device, and RAM is of course they use for speed, and hopefully you have learned in a lower year. Um, its CPU is octa-core, but its GPU is Mal G51 MP4. Card slot is micro SD. With internal, there are actually many types of phones for this single phone, which is 32 GB, 3 GB RAM, which is like the smallest. The smallest, they have 64 GB, 3 GB RAM, which is the second one. The third one is 64 GB, 4 GB RAM. The fourth one is 64 GB, 6 GB RAM, and the fifth one is 128 GB, 6 GB RAM. So it ranges from 32 GB, 3 GB RAM to 128 GB, 6 GB RAM. And its internal memory is eMMC 5.1. This main camera, of course, is 13 megapixels. There's two actually. One is the 13 megapixel with 26 millimeter width, and the 2 megapixel, which is 2.4 in depth. Its feature is LED flash, HDR, and panorama, and video is actually good. It has a 1080p 30 fps and 1080p 60 fps frames per second. Its selfie camera is 24 megapixel, which is really good. 24 megapixel, which and I would rank this as number one best phone. Since the whole video I've done, none of them are in order, but if I did in order, this would be number one. Huawei Honor P10, Huawei Honor 10 Lite, whatever. Its megapixel is actually good. It's 24 megapixels for a budget phone like that. Of course, loudspeakers, yes, with 3.5 millimeter jack. I'm talking about the common things. They have Wi-Fi. They have two Wi-Fi. One is the global Wi-Fi. One is the China Wi-Fi. So, which is one of them is the global Wi-Fi, which is the Wi-Fi direct or hotspot, but the other one is the China Wi-Fi, which is the dual band Wi-Fi direct and hotspot with A, B, G, and AC. Having Bluetooth at 4.2 with GPS and NFC. Radio is FM radio with USB, micro USB, which is like the on-the-go USB. We have 5 colors for this phone, which is the midnight black, sky blue, sapphire blue, white, and red. With models having, don't know the models. Talk about the price. If you want to move on to 32 GB 3 GB RAM, it's around $147. 64 GB 3 GB RAM is around $269. But it doesn't matter. There's also a range which is $128 in AliExpress, and 64 GB 6 GB RAM is $179.99. The only reason I'm not mentioning 128 GB 6 GB RAM is because that phone is not a budget phone. And to all the middle class people who can buy, you want to buy that phone, you can buy that phone. But if you want to buy a low price phone but the quality is actually good, even if you buy a 128 GB RAM, 120 GB phone, obviously the speed will be more or less, but the Honor 10 Lite is Honor 10 Lite without even, you can't really compare, oh I have Honor 10 Lite, oh I have Honor 10 Lite. No, it really doesn't matter. As far as I know, you really don't need to compare Honor 10 Lite with Honor 10 Lite. Obviously, if they have different GPU or different storage, but it's really not necessary to actually compare with Honor 10 Lite and Honor 10 Lite. This is, for me, is number one best budget phone. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know which one was the best phone. Comment down below. I guess I have to end the video here. If you guys really enjoyed the video, just make sure to click the like button, smash the subscribe button, and if you see that I think the popping thingy somewhere here, there's a poll out there. If you can comment down below which video should I upload next, and hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.